Hey, Blue Table fans, Shawn here. Now, I know that Age of Sigmar is not the popularist, but I'm going to talk a little about Tzeentch Daemons in general, show you what's available, give my recommendations. But before we go there, I want to show you a few things. One off, is what I just said, is the Blue Table Painting Flickr albums page. Has a lot of really cool stuff on it. Since we started in 2013, about 2 years ago. Well, I guess, yeah, going on 3 years. We're pushing, I think it is 2,000 albums on here. And that means, for the most part, 2,000 projects. Now, I usually say that BTP has finished at least 6,000 projects, maybe as many as 8,000. And you just need to appreciate how much that is. So if you went to a major convention like Adepticon, imagine that we've painted every single army there. And that is starting to kind of get close to what it is that we've accomplished. So you can get ideas. I am generally very amenable to people using these pictures if you want. Because I know some people that want to do like a store. The problem with doing a store, like a web store, is that you can't use the cover, the picture art, like from like Games Workshop, right? Because they have copyrights on that. But I would be okay with it. You just need to credit me and ask me, I guess. But guy, don't be shy about it, because we've got a lot on here, and I'd love to get some love for it. Also, do bear in mind that some of these are done with like a lower quality camera, and some of them are done with a higher quality camera. So now, the other thing I've started doing is I've started putting the artist name here. So if you want a certain artist to do your stuff, you can. And I gotta tell you, we got a lot of real good stuff up here. And we have some stuff that's just like, well, we just did it. And, you know, because that is Blue Table Painting strength, is doing, you know, giant armies to a wargamer standard. 90% of what you see on here is just our plain old level 3. And our level 3 is pretty good, guys. So here's some pictures with a lower level camera. This is a group project. So we've done a lot of really good stuff. And, you know, sometimes I'll throw in the artist pictures in there. Why not? All right, also, I've started doing our blog again. It's bluetablepainting.blogspot.com. Some of the information's dated, but I do have this great webpage called Blue Table Painting Weekly Project Update. Wow, I'm giving like a giant commercial. Oh my gosh, seriously. All right. So anyway, yeah, I give little updates here, and we're still running about 70 to 80 projects at a time. I'd like it to be a lot less, but we are clearing out some large projects. So overall, the load is, last I checked, going down. And last I checked was like 2 days ago. So also, you'll notice there's like an artist under active painting. It gives the names of the different artists and who's working on what. And so, quite frankly, and sometimes I'll do like a little blurb if somebody leaves, you know, like here it says, Alora, good luck in school. And the fact is, when you're hiring 20-something artists, you know, there's some turnover. You know, they got lives, they have other opportunities that come up, and you know, that's just kind of how life is. And it's always fun to meet some new people. So, okay, with that in mind, let's look at some Tzeentch Daemons. So here we go. And I'm going to also give a review of the Age of Sigmar Tzeentch Daemons section. So, in fact, let's just go to that. So first off, it goes from page 17 to 27. So, okay, we'll start with KAIROS FATEWEAVER. He's 10 wounds. A lot of people are doing wounds like points, which I think is a good rule of thumb. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. So the FATEWEAVER has Oracle of Eternity. That's kind of his big thing. Once per game, you can change the result of a single dice roll to the result of your choosing. That's kind of a big deal. And he's got one of those things that, has kind of been mocked, which is, if you do something like turn around 3 times, you get some game effect. But you know what? It's fun, and it speaks to how the game is now. And I think Age of Sigmar actually fills a niche. It fills a niche of the, let's play a game for fun. Let's get the models we want. It's everything I love. And I'm glad. I'm glad they did it this way. So anyway, secrets and ciphers. When you make a casting or unbinding roll for KAIROS FATEWEAVER, add 2 to the result. If just before rolling the dice you can correctly spell the spell's name backwards aloud without hesitating or looking it up. So, and you know what? He's pretty good without that. He also has Gift of Change, which blows up enemy units and sets up a chaos spawn if they take any casualties. So that's kind of fun. And the KAIROS, so let's look at the KAIROS FATEWEAVER model here. So there's our Changeling. Let's open a new tab. And let's go KAIROS. So his model actually isn't really that awesome. But it'd make a great Demon Prince if you want a Demon Prince of Tzeentch. It's a pretty good fig. But this is a 60 mil, and so it's really not that imposing of a figure. Okay, next up you have what I think is the best thing, and if you're doing a Tzeentch-themed demon army for Age of Sigmar, I would start it up with 2 Lords of Change, 10 wounds each, and a typical game I think would be at least 50 wounds, maybe 100. 100 wounds I'd consider to be kind of worthy of a 6-foot board. So here's his big thing. First off, he flies at 10 inches, so not too bad, but he's not really going to be flying over things, but that's some good maneuverability there. Mastery of Magic. When you make a casting or unbinding roll, change the result of the lowest dice so that matches the highest. I need you to appreciate this going into the rest of this video, is that this guy, if one of the dice is a 6, then both of them are a 6. So that's a 33% chance of that happening. It's a good percent of the time. One of those dice is going to show a 6, and you're just going to be at a 12. And if it's a 5, then you get a 10. And there's actually a 6, I do believe it is a 55 to 65% chance of one of those dice showing a 5, and yeah, I think it's 55% chance of, and then that's a 10. But check this out: Beacon of Sorcery. Spread it. It's a command ability. Spreading his arms wide, the Lord of Change saturates the area with magic. If he uses this ability until your next hero phase, at 1 to casting and binding rolls made for Tzeentch demon wizards that are within 18 inches. So the way I'm reading it, that's him. So if he rolls those a 5, and then that becomes a 10, it's actually an 11. Okay, so here it comes. Infernal Gateway is you pick a unit within 18 inches, you roll 9 dice. If that beats the number on the damage table above, the unit suffers a mortal wound. So 9 dice. So if he's unharmed or very little harmed, he gets Infernal Gateway on a 3, so that's going to be 6 mortal wounds. This guy can blow up whole units. And remember, casting value of 7, there's no way he can't miss that. It means there's a 1 in 9 chance that he'll miss it. There's like an 87% chance that he's going to get that spell off, just by himself. Okay, so let's see. Summon demons. Oh, and he can summon himself. That's the big deal. So he has Summon Lord of Change on a 9. But again, that's on if either dice shows a 4 or higher. Because if he rolls a 4, then both dice would be a 4, which is 8, plus 1 for his command ability is 9. So there's a 75% chance that he can summon a Lord of Change. And he can do 2 spells a turn. So quite frankly, that's just awesome. So I would start with 2 of those guys. And the Changeling. I don't think he's that good. He kind of, he's not really that great in close combat. But I don't know. I would do it just because it's a cool fig. Let's check out his fig. Games Workshop. There it is, the Changeling. I'd put him in there, and then you could run him as a Herald of Tzeentch on foot if you wanted. That could be fun. $20 for that guy. So let's get rid of him. Let's get rid of KAIROS. Okay. We'll look at the blue scribes in a minute. Okay. So basically the Changeling, until he does some offensive thing, he can kind of move around and he can't be charged or hurt or shot at. Unless an enemy hero ends in your opponent's hero phase. Oh, that's interesting. He can't just... He can't just move a hero up and find him. Within 3 inches of an enemy hero in your opponent's hero phase. So that gives you a chance to move him away. Yeah, I think that's right. That's pretty cool. Okay, Herald of Tzeentch on foot. So let's go to the... There it is. Tzeentch Sorcerer Lord. This is I do believe the Herald of Tzeentch on foot. So pretty cool, huh? Great fig. Gotta have it. Personally, I'm going to put him on a disc. And here's why. Let's take a look. So he's got 5 wounds. And he's got Pink Fire of Tzeentch. Okay, hold on. Let me just break this down. Okay, Arcane Tome. So he can roll 3 dice instead of 2 dice for a casting attempt once per game. It's a big deal because some of the spells, if you get a higher roll on them, you get a bigger effect. You get Pink Horrors, if you roll an 11 or higher, you get a unit of 20 instead of a unit of 10. So that's kind of a big deal. If you roll a 9 or more for his casting roll, he can attempt to cast 1 extra spell this phase. Now remember, you've got a couple of Lords of Tzeentch. What was that guy's name? You should know this. Lord of Changes. Lords of Change, not Lord of Changes. I know how to say it. Okay, so basically, he's 5 wounds. He moves 5 inches. He's on the ground. And he gets 1 spell. He gets Pink Fire. Now, this is really good. Casting value of 9, so pretty high. But pick a visible enemy unit within 18 inches. They suffer D6 mortal wounds. So that's kind of Tzeentch's thing. They get mortal wounds. He can summon himself, too. But quite frankly, this guy's 5 wounds. And the Herald of Tzeentch on Disc of Tzeentch is 5 wounds. So I would never get the guy on foot, all things being equal. Because this guy has a 16-inch move. He gets some extra attacks from the disc. And he has the Arcane Tome as well. And he gets 1 spell. So the thing that the Herald on foot gets is Fortune and Fate, which is he can do an extra spell on a 9-up. That's kind of a big deal. Blue Fire of Tzeentch has a casting value of 4, which is really low. And then you roll 9 dice, and if it matches your opponent's 1 die roll, which is kind of it's basically on a 6, it does a mortal wound. So on 9 dice, you're only going to do 1.5 mortal wounds. So that's less than a D3. So not as good as the guy on... Actually, he isn't as good in that respect. His spell is just plain not as good. But the casting value is really low. But for the movement, I would give it to the Herald.